I love the era of Egypt's golden empire. I love the era of Egypt's golden empire, of the ancient world of ancient Egyptian civilization, of the ancient world of ancient Egyptian civilization. And in this era there were three kings. Firstly, King Amenhotep. Secondly, King Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh. Thirdly, King Tut or King Tutankhamun. The first one was King Amenhotep, who was the richest and the first king of this era of Egypt's golden empire of the ancient world. He was the wealthiest and kind of a diplomatic king because he used diplomacy to use his power and manage his power to found the ancient world of ancient Egypt and to conquer his rivals, his other rulers, like the Babylonian king. He uses diplomacy with them to make sure he maintain the balance of his power in Egypt and to control foreigners from getting powers on his own homeland of Egypt. He was kind of diplomatic king, and he was the richest and he was very smart king and the wealthiest of Egypt's golden empire. The second king was King Akhenaten, was the heretic pharaoh because he believed in the sun god. He's trying to take a god's place and make himself be worshipped as a god himself. And his rule didn't end the right way because he was like kind of a selfish king, and the people revolt and overthrew him. And his reign ended the wrong way, but I'm not saying that he wasn't a king of principles. He had a lot of principles, especially religious, but he was too selfish, and his reign ended up finishing the wrong way because he was overthrown by the Egyptian population because of his religious belief. He was kind of a heretic person. He was trying to be worshipped as the sun god himself. And the third king was King Tut. King Tut or King Tutankhamun, who was the grandson of King Amenhotep or the son of King Akhenaten, because it's a family line, it's a blue blood, it's royalty. The first one was King Amenhotep, who ruled along with his wife Quinty. The second one was King Amenhotep's son or King Akhenaten, who ruled along with his wife Queen Nefertiti, the most beautiful queen of the ancient world, whose name means the most beautiful one has arrived, like Queen Nefertiti, who was the wife of King Akhenaten. And King Akhenaten was the son of King Amenhotep. And the third one is King Tutankhamun, and whose queen or wife was Queen Ankhesenamun, whose queen or wife of King Tut or King Tutankhamun was named Queen Ankhesenamun, and Queen Ankhesenamun was kind of his half sister. So because of in ancient Egypt you could marry the same family line, like marry your own sister or marry your half sister in ancient Egypt. It was not unusual for a pharaoh or king of Egypt to do that. And King Tutankhamun or King Tut died very young. He died when he was 19 years old, like 19 and a half, almost 20 years old. And then his rule started pretty young, like he started to rule ancient Egypt when he was 9 years old after the passing of his father, King Akhenaten, the heretic pharaohs, with his wife Queen Nefertiti, the most beautiful one, has arrived. After King Akhenaten died, King Tut or King Tutankhamun took over the throne of Egypt to rule after his father's death when he was only 9 years old. Once again, when he was only 9 years old, but he died 10 years later when he was 19 years old. One last time, the three kings of this era, the era of Egypt's golden empire, was firstly King Amenhotep, who was the grandfather of King Tutankhamun and the father of King Akhenaten, ruled along with his queen or pharaoh or female pharaoh Quinty, side by side. And the second one was King Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh, who was trying to take a God's place and be worshipped as a sun god, like sun god Amun-Ra. He was a heretic ruler. So his wife was, or female pharaoh, was Queen Nefertiti, whose name itself means the most beautiful one has arrived, which name itself, or the name of Queen Nefertiti herself, which means the most beautiful one has arrived. Nefertiti means the most beautiful one has arrived. Nefertiti was the wife of King Akhenaten, the heretic ruler. And also Akhenaten was the son of King Amenhotep, and the third king of this era of Egypt's Golden Empire. And the last one too was King Tut, or King Tutankhamun, who was the grandson of King Amenhotep and also the son of King Akhenaten. And King Tut married his half sister, was from the royal family also, because King Tut married his half sister, and his half sister's name was Anck-su-namun. And also she was queen of female pharaoh of ancient Egypt and ruled side by side with King Tut for 10 years, from 9 to 19, because King Tut started to reign when he was 19 years old, and his rule ended up, because King Tut started to reign, when he was 9 years old, and his reign ended up 10 years later when he was 19 years old. That's the proper way to say it. And also ancient kings of ancient Egyptian civilization were polygamous. This means they have different wives from different nations. Like, for example, if you are a king of Egypt, like King Amenhotep or King Akhenaten, for example, they have multiple different wives. Like, for example, they used to have like at least 10 wives. Like one wife, the first wife was probably from the Egyptian line. One of the family members, like they are sisters of their cousins. And also she became queen of Egypt and ruled alongside the pharaoh as his wife, and the pharaoh was her husband, like queen king. And also the king had different access to different wives from other nations, like from the Babylonian king nations. They used to marry the Babylonian king's daughters, the Babylonian princesses, and to become wife of the pharaoh or queen. Like, not only the Egyptian civilization pharaohs were the most powerful ones, they are the richest politically and economically, and also they were polygamous. This means they have different wives from other nations, not only also from their own homeland. They marry the people from their homeland, like women from their own homeland, like Egyptian women, but also they marry people from other nations, like from the Babylonian nation, from Nubia, from other nations. They were polygamous. They are the wives from their homeland, like Egyptian female girls, like Egyptian females, Egyptian queens. But also they had wives from other nations, from other countries. They were polygamous. This means they have different category of wives. Thank you so much for watching, my friends, and God bless you.